What's up, world? It's your girl.
I can hear.
What's up, everybody? We're gonna make this happen somehow, some way. Latrina, I see why we're having the problem because I see two of you down on my screen. But anyways, what's up, world? It's your girl Latrina. Sorry. I have not been drinking. I don't know what's going on. Right.
Are you sure?
I'm really Latanya Michelle, and I am joined with my girl Nikki Jules.
Hey.
And Miss Latrina.
Hello.
Everybody, first of all, let me say this. Thank you guys for always joining us and for participating, for sending us the best messages. We took a break last week for Thanksgiving. So I have to ask you ladies, how was your Thanksgiving? Nikki?
It was wonderful. Some good eating. Let's see. I hear an echo, by the way. But good eating, great fellowship, and I only gained 2 pounds.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
Trina?
Mine was good. I was with family, not the entire family like normal, but I was still with my family. I walked the bridge for the first time.
Oh, the Woodrow Wilson Bridge?
Yes, I walked almost 8 miles.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
No, not yet. I was sore for 3 days.
That's all right, though. You still did it. You get credit for doing it.
Thank you.
My Thanksgiving was good. I was by myself, but I had a great day. Like I had a great relaxing day. I cooked and I had a great day. So
Good.
we got through Thanksgiving. Anybody else before we get started want to tell us about their Thanksgiving? Anything that you learned over Thanksgiving? Are you more grateful for something that you wasn't grateful for before Thanksgiving? You know, like family, love, any of that. We'll catch up with that. Now, I'm a little off because I'm the DJ of this program and I have two Latrinas somewhere and I don't know what's going on and I'm trying to not focus on that. But it's Latrina, you're on here twice and I know people can't see you, but I can see you and it's freaking me out. So
can you delete one?
I can't. I've been trying and it won't let me. So I don't know.
So Latrina, do you have to come out and go back in?
Yes, but it still shouldn't be 2.
It still should be 2. So somewhere Latrina is on there twice. She's on there twice, but that's okay. We're going to make it going. If there is no echo and no issues, we're going to work with that, and I'll just try not to go crazy. So, ladies, today we are talking about generational curses. Yes. Y'all ready?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to share this because before we have our shows, the 3 of us get together and we have like a brief discussion. We don't go into details, but we do have a brief discussion about what we're going to discuss and everything and stuff. And I think yesterday when we talked, I think we all were shocked, you know, because we knew what we were going to talk about in a way, but we didn't know what we were going to talk about. So I think the show is going to be very, very interesting. So let me first give you the description of what I looked up, the definition of generational curses. It said a family curse, a generational curse, a curse that's inherited, a curse on a family. The belief in them crosses many religious beliefs. There's no reliable scientific evidence that curses exist. However, we as Black people, we know. You know, they say that generational curses is more of a religious thing more than anything. And it's like something that's in the Bible, and it's supposed to be a spiritual thing. So I'm going to start off in my ideas. When I think of generational curses, I think of things that we were taught that we don't necessarily know that we was taught. Things that are something bad. It could be it's probably something bad that maybe our ancestors or our parents did or something that it travels with us. you know, some bad ways, some bad habits, some bad experiences that it travels with us as adults. And if we don't change it, we become that curse. So what are some ideas? I just went totally blank. Y'all work with me today, work with me today. These both Latrinas is freaking me out. But anyways, so one of the things that we came up with was family holding secrets. And when we talk about family secrets, we're talking about, and first let me say this to everybody that's watching. This is probably going to be a very sensitive show.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be a very sensitive show. And one of the things that I know that the point of when Ladies Talk is for us to be honest and be real and to help each other and to better each other and to heal. None of us are experts on any of these topics. We are just like you all. We're just a group of women who decided to put this together, but we all have become a family. So Yolanda, Angie, Melody, all you guys that's out there, please understand that this is a group talk. This is a group discussion, and we don't want to offend anybody. And if it's things that you have experienced, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because we all need to heal. So when we talk about family secrets, some of us, our grandfathers or our fathers, even our mothers or grandmothers were people who have been molested, been raped, or on the other end that was molesting or raping other people. You know, we rarely talk about what our people have done to others. We always hear the story of what's done to us, but we don't understand that some of us are connected to people who baby, I don't know where I got that from. I'm reading some, who basically has done some bad stuff, and some of us are paying for it still.
Yeah.
Y'all can't be quiet this whole show. I'm not.
I know. I'm listening, girl. I'm listening. We are all tuned in. Hey, well, hold on. I do some shout outs. Hey, Kyla. Thanks for joining. You got Kyla China. That's my boo sister. She's a first-time listener. Welcome. Hey, our resident guy, Rondell, is on the line. Hey, Yolanda. Hey, Angie. Thanks for joining. Yolanda, thanks for sharing. Hey, Melanie. Thank you, girl. Yeah, I'm having a bad hair day, so that's why I got my hat on. Thanks. And thanks again for joining us. I just wanted to do some shout-outs. But yeah, LaTanya, go on, girl, because you are
I'm not doing this by myself. I'm not doing this.
You're not.
You know, I just think it's important that we begin to let down our walls and go, but you know, we got to stop being surface people. We really have got to talk about things that we deal with behind closed doors with ourselves. We really have to be able to heal and know that in order for us to break these curses, we have got to talk about it. We've got to talk about it, you know.
Well,
so go ahead.
I think that's part of Nikki, put your thing on mute and see if that helps when the other person talks. But I think that's part of the issue is people are not talking. People are keeping secrets, family secrets, and just secrets in general. So I think this is a good topic because it does allow us to open up, you know, and open up about some of these family secrets. I don't even understand damn family secrets in the first place, but you know, we have them. I have them in my family. So
I think it's more so the whole family secret dynamic is all about how one family wants to be viewed, right? Who wants to tell all of their dirt? Who wants to have all of their dirty laundry out there? Because, you know, unfortunately, people judge. You know, we're at a point now where I'm turning down my mic. We're at a point now where because of the internet, because of all of the things that's out there, people are talking more about things that probably were taboo back in the day. So people are admitting all the problems that they have in the family. One of the prime shows, reality shows, is the Iyanla show. All of those things that they talk about with moms not raising their kids, the father not there, what happens as a result, how something like that is triggered down the line, and why as grown adults we are the way we are because of family, or how we were raised. I can definitely attest to that myself. I'm sure a lot of us can attest to speaking about the issues that we may have went through as children that kind of shaped us. It either made us or broke us as an adult. And there's people that are still living with that stuff now. So the idea is, how do you break it? Right? I mean,
but you know what? I don't even know if we're there yet, because you made a comment about saying that, you said that people judging. I don't think that's the reason why. I think it's because they want to keep doing it, because I think it's I do. I think that people most of the time, if you molest somebody, you're doing it more than once. It's not a one-time thing. It's something that you do. There's things that we've experienced. I think we go to secrets. I think we go to secrets is because nobody is holding anybody accountable.
That's why we hold secrets.
That's why we hold secrets.
That's why we hold secrets, because there's no punishment.
Yes.
There is no penalty and there's no punishment for what people are doing. So that's why the family is like, okay, just shut up about it, because you can't do nothing about it anyway. So just be quiet. I just think holding secrets, that whatever's happening, and not just being molested, but just anything going on in the family, whether it's finances, anything, if you're just quiet, you can't help anyone else. So I just feel like if we let it out and just be truthful, not only does it help ourselves, but it helps the next person that's sitting next to us that may be going through the same damn thing. But because everybody's so freaking secretive, nobody's even saying anything.
And I think that the scary thing about generational curses is that there is so many secrets, and we don't even know that the secrets are now attached to us. We don't know, because there's so many secrets. We don't know what happened. So when we start facing stuff, we're like, what in the world is going on? When we started acting a certain way and we start doing crazy stuff, no one told us of what happened before us. No one told, until somebody maybe on their dying bed decide they want to say something, maybe. Or someone it's almost like, just for an example, I'll hear talk about my family. My grandfather had a whole different family, he had. And so when I spoke to my mom, I was like, y'all do know y'all got, and they was mad at me, but I'm like, but it's true. Like, they're dead. The grandfather's dead now. So, my grandmother is dead now. So she can't be disrespected. But guess what? Y'all got other people over here that's connected to you, the same bloodline. And what is it to be upset about?
Even with this show, since we've been doing this podcast, I've had family members say, could you not talk about that? Things that we've talked about. And I'm like, bullshit. No, I'm calling bullshit. And I'm going to talk about what I want to talk. One, because it's our show. And two, because I was involved and it happened to me. And that, nothing happened to me, but I was in the family. So if I'm part of the family, I can talk about whatever I want to talk about.
You can.
That is the whole freaking problem. I'll just say that. Everybody is just, girl, I learned so much about both sides of my family, and I'm close to everyone on both sides of my family. I have learned so much in really just the month since my aunt passed away. It's unbelievable what I've learned in 30 days about my family.
It's always when somebody dies. It's always when somebody dies, you find out so much stuff like, what?
You're like, wait, what was that?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were talking about, you had just said it. I think that if we as humans, if we really look at ourselves, how true are we to who we really, really are? Like, do you really, really talk about your pain? Do you even deal with your pain?
I
For me-
actually do.
Oh,
I'm
because I was
sorry.
going to say I don't, because here's the reason I don't is my family don't give me time.
Right.
My
Right.
family doesn't give me time because I'm always supporting or uplifting someone else or listening to someone else's issues or dramas. So I don't even have time to deal with my own shit because I am so busy taking care of, everybody else and making sure everybody else is good.
But do
So
you
no,
think you do? Wait, because me and you are a lot alike. I think me and you are a lot alike. I'm admitting that more and more. But is it that, because I'm gonna talk about me, is it that we turn to everybody else's issues to avoid our own issues? So we stay busy, we stay focused because we don't want to talk about our own issues. And that's why we stay in the ruts that we're in, because like me, what I'm learning is that I'm that person. You can hurt my feelings and I might not ever say anything to you. What I'll do is I'll take that hurt pain, and I'll go put it on a jar somewhere in my head and forget about it and keep on moving. I probably won't, because I look at it this way. If she mad, she mad. You know what I mean? Not like but I want to fix your problem for you, but I don't want to fix my pain part of it, because I feel like I'm strong and I can take everything. But after a while, that adds up and you start losing your freaking mind.
I can say in
Okay,
my
well,
past, yeah, in my past, I did that. In the past, I didn't want to look at myself and my issues. When I got divorced and I reinvented myself, no, I dealt with all of my issues, hurt, whatever it was, I dealt with it. But in the past, yes, it was just a cover up. But no,
Right.
I'm not in cover ups. But I'm also not very truthful when people do hurt my feelings.
Right.
Because what happens is, and I'm very sensitive. I know people don't think that, but I am like very, very. So I'm like this sensitive thug or gangster. I don't know where that shit comes from, but I'm really, really sensitive. So if you say some shit to me and you hurt my feelings, that shit is always in my head. It ain't on no shelf. It ain't on no shelf. It's in my head. And if you say, all you could say is good morning, all that shit coming out. It's the
Wow.
least little thing that person does that makes me snap, because I should have said something
Months
6
ago.
months ago.
Months ago.
Right.
well,
I should have said it.
well, let me tell you how I deal. So I definitely had to do the soul searching myself. I realized I used to be a yes person all the time, and that sometimes with that attitude, people take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And so I actually read a book about people pleasing, right? And they had some exercises in there, and I tried it out, and it worked. And one of the things was that, just saying no, just say no, I can't at this time, no. And then I realized I don't need to give you an excuse or anything like
Explanation.
that to my no. And then with that, internally, I learned that I don't have to do certain things anymore that I don't want to do. If I'm upset, if you upset me or something like that, I may tell you about it, but I may not, depending on the level of how I view you in my space, period, or in my life. For example, if somebody says something to me, or if they feel some kind of way, or they hurt my feelings or whatever, I'm like, I may ask why, but that's only if I want to continue a relationship. If it was relationship with you, girl, guy, anything, if I'm inquiring, it's because I really am interested on why you said what you said, or why you think what you think, or why would you do that. But if I don't care like that, pretty much I hear you and that's the end. Like I don't need to let somebody know that they hurt me or whatever, unless it's somebody I really care about.
I agree about that with that. I'm not saying every person, but definitely the people that you thought you had good relationship with, a good friendship, a good family ship, you know, a good anything. You're right. So I'm not saying everybody, but the people that I'm referring to are the people that I thought I had relationships with. So that's what I'm saying. I thought I had bonds with these people. So I'm probably gonna switch off like one day, you know, on
and you know what? That comes from somewhere. That comes from, there's a curse somewhere sitting on you that comes from. And you got to figure out what it is. You got to figure out what it is. You know, Rondell asked the question, the word family needs a new definition. It totally does. It totally does. Because, but you know what? I have to ask this, and then we're going to get more on these topics again, but I have to ask this question is, do you guys see this? And it could be just me. When I was young growing up, like my family was very close and everything. And I just thought I was in the best family in the world. But as an adult now, I'm like, what in the world is all of this? Like, oh. And I'm not knocking my family. Because I still love my family. But there's just certain things that just as a child or as a teenager, that everything just seems so happy-go-lucky. But then as an adult, you start looking at things and I'm like, oh, there's secrets over here and there's toxic stuff over here and it's dysfunction. Like, this is just crazy. Like,
but maybe you were shielded from that.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. I was gonna say, I think as children
from that stuff on purpose.
As children, they only let us see certain things. But in reference to what you said, I didn't even realize when I first moved to Maryland, I could not understand what God was doing with me because I have been with my family my whole life. It wasn't until a year after I was here and I went back home to visit, I was like, y'all fucked up. All y'all. I mean, and I was messed up too because I was in the dysfunction. But I couldn't even see that it was dysfunction or that I was dysfunctional until I went away and came back. Now I'm not an outsider, but kind of like an outsider because I'm not in the day-to-day family bullshit.
Right.
So when I went back, I'm like, oh my God, y'all messed up. I was messed up. I came back and was like, thank you, God. Thank you.
So let me ask you this. And this is because before we go on to another topic, the family's holding secrets. How do you deal with your families who has done bad stuff? You know, like,
what do you mean bad stuff? Like what? Molesting somebody, stealing? I mean, what you mean?
She said, I'm talking
about juggler. Gee, Willikers.
And you know what? I say this is because I have so many people who reach out to me that I talk to that has been molested and everything. And I say, you know, you got molested like 40 years ago, 30 years ago, or whatever. Have you ever thought about confronting your molester? And they still feel like they shouldn't, even though it's a family member. You know what I mean? And my whole thing is like, we still protecting people. We're still protecting people.
But here's the thing. What do you gain from that?
A lot. Peace of mind. Freedom. Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I've never been molested, but I feel like you gain your freedom.
Right. Because even if it's writing a letter, to them and not giving it to them, that we don't release stuff. Like people always talk about, like, I'm that one. I'm telling you, I'm that one. Affirmations, prayers, all of that positive stuff and candles and crystals. Let me tell you something. That stuff don't work if that stuff is still underneath it. It's gonna blow up.
It doesn't work if you have if you still are harboring.
If you don't figure out how to heal. You could think, oh, I didn't take the time, I didn't take my sabbatical, I didn't heal from this and everything. You don't understand what healing is until you are in the middle of some shit that you like, what the fuck is going on? And everything from all over the place is coming and taking over. And it's like these spirits is jumping on you and there ain't shit you can do but watch.
I mean, we had I think maybe one situation of someone being molested in our family, and you know, I didn't find out about it until years later. So it was, you know, nothing that I could do. But what I did tell the person it happened to is, why didn't you tell like us, the younger generation? Because we were around these
All the
people,
time. Right.
you know, so I guess I went through some anger, you know, and
Right.
nobody probably did nothing to me because I had a big ass mouth. Like I was telling,
That's why they didn't
No.
tell you.
I was telling everything, telling my father, I was telling my mama, my grandma, that's why no one ever wanted to take me no place. Because if they was lying and said where they was going, I'm going to grandma, she took me so and so, and you said don't go to. So I wish people would just say what happened to them to help the younger people, or even the older, just to help somebody else. Just
Right.
because you're putting us in a situation that you were in for this to happen.
Right.
By not saying anything, and that's not right.
Hey, we have some comments here. Let me go back a little bit.
Patty, I feel like forgiveness is for you, not so much for the other person.
I agree.
That's true.
Yeah.
But you can forgive the other person, and you should forgive the other person. But it doesn't matter until you forgive yourself.
I agree.
Until you take the blame and everything away from yourself. Monique said, I think everyone's situation is different, but you do need to release it. That looks differently for each person. That is totally true.
Very true.
That's very, very true.
Hey, Monique, thanks for joining. That's my boo's other sister, first time listener.
Hey, Monique. Welcome.
Okay. Yolanda? They're not protecting the perp, they're protecting themselves. That's one way of looking at it.
So another form of generational curses is not discussing finances and bank accounts and teaching their children about finances. There's a lot of us that's experienced brokenness because nobody taught us.
Amen.
And this is no offense to, when I say this, please, I'm not trying to offend anybody when I say this, but there's people who will never go to the next level because no one taught them. It's not even their faults, but nobody taught them or whatever. And we can't judge anybody. That's one of the things that we cannot do. We can't judge anybody. We can't judge anybody's finances or any of that stuff or whatever. But one of our biggest problems as Black people, and y'all know I always go to that pro-Black, but as Black people, I mean, just for instance, there's, I can speak on some of my family. I could tell you two sides, and we were raised in the same upbringing. I have a family who's got doctors, and everybody is kicking tail. And then across the street, the other family, everybody's in Section 8, from the grandmother to the mother to whatever and stuff. And so
my family is like that too. We have a little bit of everything in our family. But I don't remember anyone sitting down and saying, okay, this is what a bank account is. This is this. This is what your finance. But what I do remember is my parents and my grandparents always saying, make sure you have your own.
Right.
They definitely did tell me and teach me that. They did tell me to make sure. They just didn't tell me how to go about it. But they did tell me always make sure that you have your own. When my great grandfather died, he had like $7,000 literally in his pants.
His mattress.
But of course I was in high school, so I knew about bank accounts and all that then in high school. But I'm like, this man is 90-some years old with all this money in his pants.
That's because they hide their money in mattresses. They don't trust. Old people never trusted people. Rondell and Yolanda said, well, Rondell, they're both saying the same thing, but Rondell says, LaTanya, correct, I feel you, but how can someone teach you something they were never taught? That's why it's time for us to break the curses. It's time for us to break the curses for our children, because we know better. We can no longer to keep living the way that our parents taught us, our grandparents taught us, or whatever, because we know better.
But you know what? Let me tell you what I went through with my great grandmother. God bless the dead. But she when it came time to turn my mic down a bit. When it came time to, because she was elderly, she passed away at 95. When it came down to, because I knew, so obviously I was exposed eventually to money, bank accounts, finances, insurance, and all that. When it came down to discuss her insurance, I said to her, we call her Sister Will. I love this lady, but we call her Sister Will. And I said, Sister Will, you have life insurance, right? Yeah. I said, okay, so what are going to be your wishes and all that other stuff like that? She didn't want to talk about it. She didn't want to talk about it at all. She, I guess because talking about it meant that she's the realization that she was going to pass away soon or whatever. So maybe she was scared to talk about it. But even stuff like that, like when you talk about when people are asking, how can you teach somebody that doesn't know? But, you know, my generation, even when I was younger, my grandmother passed away at 22 years old. I had to know what to do. And I spoke to my grandmother. She spoke to me about different things, but it didn't happen until I saw different too, because I am that example of somebody that was raised on welfare, kid, young age. I had all the generational curses. My mother had me as a teenager. I wound up being a teen mom, so obviously I made sure my kids, you know, was not a teen parent. Even my son, now he didn't have his first kid until much later, praise the Lord. But you know, I was that. But it wasn't until, like I was telling you ladies before, until I moved my grandmother, I saw something different. Like, so I saw that she had her car. She had her own nice place with her plants. You go through her photo album. She's taking trips to Jamaica. She had a good paying job as a law clerk at a big time law firm in the city. So everything about me wanted to be like that, wanted to be independent, whatever, but I had to see different. You know what I'm saying? I know if I would have stayed in my environment, God knows where I'd have been now. So I guess almost too, like now, as far as breaking the curses, yes, we could tell our children, but we could also talk and have these discussions with our friends. Some of our our friends' kids, all of that, you know, but trying to go back to try to teach some of the elderly now or talk about it even, don't want to. It's like they don't want to talk about it. It's almost like they're set in their ways. So it's like, what do you do with that?
I bet you your grandmother, right? I bet you your grandmother, even though she didn't talk about it, I bet you she had her funeral planned out. It was paid for and everything, wasn't it?
Now that they will do.
No, she had insurance. Right. But one of us had to take the reins and do what we had to do.
But she had the insurance to make sure it was paid for and everything, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what one thing that Black old people do, they make sure their insurance bill is paid every month.
Yeah, so old people do that.
Old people, we missed that one.
Right, old people do it, and then it skipped a generation. Yes. And okay, because it's a whole generation of my aunts and uncles that don't have that. Okay, and then my generation, we good.
Right.
But it skipped a whole generation of some shit not taking place. Because
I remember the insurance lady used to come to the house all the time to pay bills. Yep. So Angie says, my family curse was alcoholism. My grandfather and uncle, and to this day, is not talked about. When I was younger, I found myself hiding gin in my closet. I didn't talk to my family about this, only friends. Thank God I was able to free myself from that. Girl, you and so many other people, and don't even realize it. They don't realize that. They think, you start drinking and you feel like, oh, this is just what I do. This is what I do. But then when you start picking up the cup all the time, you never realize, you never think about, where did I get this from? Where did this come from? This is harder to break than people think, because it's a curse.
It is. I think I just looked at the people in my family of what they were doing, and at an early age, I just made a decision of what the good stuff I was going to pick up and the bad stuff that I was going to leave. And I made a conscious decision to, teach my children and talk to my children and find out what's going on with my children. And even my children's friends. I mean, some of my children's friends has had to come live with us because they don't have relationships with their their parents or whatever the circumstance. So I've always had that open door, but Like my dad, I had to talk to him when my aunt passed away. I'm like, what are your wishes? Because the next person that don't have life insurance is getting burned up in the grill in the backyard. So what the fuck?
Can I say this? Because this is why this conversation was important to me. Okay. Just like you guys both talk, I'm one of those people I'm breaking stereotypes because I didn't look at them as curses. I looked at them as stereotypes. I got married, I got pregnant, I married the man that I got pregnant by, blah, blah, blah. My son was raised in a house with, his mom and his father. I had my mother, my stepfather, my mother. There's so many things that I said that I was not going to do and everything. Like you, I got pregnant at 19. My son was 20-something before he had his first child. And I mean, and it's easy for us to say that part because we have the right mentality. But I still think generational curses is a little different because in spite of that, I life coach, I do all kinds of stuff. And still, like, I was in a domestic abusive relationship, and I'm just going to share my stuff. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to share because that's the point of me being on the show. So I was in an abusive relationship that's been over since 2002, 2003, or whatever and stuff. And I found myself in the midst of some stuff recently where I just lost it. When I say that I lost it, and keep in mind, I have a normal life. I have a good life. I have 2 businesses that I run, blah, blah, blah. If you look at me, I am nothing like the stereotype or the negative part, and I'm positive. I light my candles. I do affirmations. I pray. I talk to God every day and all of that stuff. But I basically was in the middle of a situation where I freaking lost it. And and my mouth, I went off on somebody, and we have got to talk about these men and women relationships. This man pissed me off and I went off. But he only pissed me off this much. But I went off like he pissed me off this much. Because every other pain that I ever felt in my life, he got it.
He got it.
He only deserved this much.
Right.
But he got that much plus.
Right.
And when I say that I wanted this person to hurt. I wanted him to hurt because I was hurting so bad. And I felt at that time that I was hurting because of something he did, but it wasn't. It was something that my mama did, my cousin did, all the people who ever hurt me did. Because LaTanya Michelle has been that one that you could call at 2:00 in the morning. She got you. She might not even like you. You might just like her. But if you call her at 2:00 in the morning, she got you. She's that one who got raped 2 years ago by a goddess she trusts. Everything that I've experienced came that night, and I went off on this person. Like,
that's because you're not healed. I was not healed. You didn't deal with it. Yeah, you didn't deal with it.
I didn't heal properly. And the things that I thought I needed healing from, I thought that that's all I needed to heal from, but it was deeper than that. This goes back to my father not being in my life, everything. I'm talking about all of it. It goes back to the dark-skinned girls talking about me as a life. It went back to everything where I had to protect myself, even though I'm good to people. So, of course, he was like, yo, this chick is crazy. But but we got to understand that generational curses is a spiritual thing. And it's something called spiritual warfare. And we always raised in the church, and they don't talk about spiritual warfare at all. They don't. And everything and stuff. And so the next day, I had to talk to someone who basically got to me. And when I say that, when I finally started talking, he was like, you gotta let it go. I'm like, I don't have nothing to let go. I don't have nothing to let go. What are you talking about? He was like, no, you got. And when I started talking, I mean, the tears is like pouring, and when I say crying and talking, I'm saying stuff that I've never heard before in my life, or whatever. And so, and I had to forgive myself.
I have a cousin like that though.
Because I had already forgiven everybody else, but I never forgave myself.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna have to keep forgiving yourself over and over again. I don't think it ends with that.
Right.
Oh goodness. So we have a couple of comments. Let me read some of these. Okay, let me go back. Okay. Let's see. Angie said, my family curse was alcoholism, my grandfather and uncle, and to this day.
We read that.
We read
Y'all read
that.
that already?
Did that, right.
Did you read it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that part. Okay. So Alan, hey Alan, what's up? A very big problem in the Black community. We don't talk about touchy subjects. It gets swept under the rug, so it's never dealt with. It continues. Yes. Kyla said, us too. Alan is responding to your story, girl. He was like, wow. You see what April said. Rondell told us to go check something out on YouTube, The Best Kept Secret. We will.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
Rondell, that's good. That was really good.
Monique, tell Anthony I said thanks. Okay, so deflective behavior is a factor to keeping you in darkness. Ignoring issues is a behavior learned. Assessment is resolved. I say that because you may never unearth the entire truth. So sis, you have to learn how to see the real you, admit your flaws and learn what you want and how or who you want to be with or who you want to be. I'm sorry. Then you must commit to change. Generational curses per se can always be broken by you. Your hurt is your healing. Wait, your hurt is your healing. Responsibility says family is not always blood. Your heart is and I don't know, it disappeared.
Sugar.
You know, my cousin is kind of going through that right now where she is having some issues from childhood and she kind of just exploded and told me that she just felt like, you know, one of my grandmothers didn't accept her as a grandchild and treated her different. She said she remembers like all the cousins were around grandma and she was somewhere on a couch on the other side of, I mean, just all this shit. And I'm like, I don't remember that. And she's like, well, you wouldn't because it didn't happen.
Because it wasn't you. Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't you.
So she's dealing with that. And, you know, her mom taught her not to like men. So she didn't like men. So she's been married a couple times. I mean, she really, you know, she's angry with her son. She has so many generational curses until I'm crying with her. I'm praying for her, you know, I'm counseling. And it's just like, it's amazing what people hold on to from when they were like 7.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And people need to listen. That's not the time when you give people advice because it's just like, we know what we're supposed to do. We get it. Like Sugar. I'm like, whoever you are, Sugar, I wish you live in Atlanta. Let's go get some drinks. You
don't live in Atlanta. That's my boo. You cannot take my boo. We'll come
can
visit
I just
you.
Have her like, can I share just a little? Can I get it once every 2 months?
I'm a selfish creature.
Sugar, I love you anyway, so. But you know, we have to like, and that's another thing Black people do. We love to give some advice on something we ain't never been through. We love this is what you should do. Let's pray on it. Ain't nobody gonna pray on this. Is praying ain't helping right now. You know what I mean? We love to just, well, no, get it out. I'm gonna be that one to get it out.
But I had to do that. I had to learn to listen because I'm a fixer by nature. So if you're telling me something in my head, I'm working out how to fix it.
But
I just am. So my sister told me and when they call me, they always say, Trina, we just want you to listen.
Right.
We don't want you to fix it. So you're right. We do have to learn how to listen. And that's a struggle for me that I am working on because you're right. If I've never been through it, and sometimes you may not need it fixed, you do just need somebody to listen. So I get it.
And half the time you think you're trying to use solving it because that generic answer is what Black people have been using for everything. It's like the doctors always give you Motrin. It ain't gonna work.
Right.
It doesn't work for everything. Alan says, I never hear people admit fault or where the behavior comes from. They deflect it on others. Ownership and forgiveness without the people who offend us is key. We have to forgive them without the apology and move on. The people who broke us aren't coming back to fix us. Alan, I'm there. You know what?
Good comment, Alan.
Yeah.
The last couple of days, my whole thing is I apologize, but I am willing to take it because I did it. Whatever, I'm here for it. The consequences, I got it because it still came out of my mouth or whatever and stuff. And I don't want to I hate excuses. And everything. So I'm with you on that one. Sugar says, we coming to hang with you, Latanya. Yes. Pops is coming too.
Right.
Yes. Come on, Trina. You just
She
let
said she planning an epic road trip. She talking about Trina, tell them about your road trip. Not, I will not.
Coming.
That's a family secret. That's a family secret, okay?
I'm coming.
Right.
But we really I just feel like, these curses or whatever you want to call them, one is lack of communication. I just feel like we're not talking. And, that's why a lot of this stuff is going on. I wish we could just be transparent. And, that's one of the reasons I said, I wanted to do this whole podcast is I just want to be open. I just want to take the mask off. I just want to tell the truth. And I'm telling you, my eyes have never been wide open with my family like it has been over the last 30, 40 days.
Absolutely.
It just really, and it takes, I guess, certain circumstances maybe for things to happen for you to see clearly, I guess, or whatever. But I'm no longer even accepting any curses, anything.
Right.
any of that bullshit.
Right.
Me and my children and anyone that comes across my path or my friends or my friends' friends, I'm breaking all that shit. I'm not accepting any of that anymore.
Right.
I'm with you. You know what? Accountability too.
Yes.
And I told my girlfriend, and she's on here, Kimberly, we talk every night. And I told her, I'm checking my friends too. Because everybody ain't my friends. And if I can't be who I want to be with my friends, because I'm not going to sit there. If I can't tell them what I'm going through all the way, not just parts of it, because I think they're going to judge me. I don't want them no more.
I don't want
them in my life.
Yeah.
I don't want my family like that. I don't want no man in my life. I don't. Like, I'm okay. I finally feel like I'm free. And I'm going to stay free.
Yeah, I think to be your authentic self is real freedom. People talk about, I'm free. You're not free until you're able to be your entire self.
Yeah.
Real.
And I even had to back away from some people because to include family members to save me, to save my damn self.
Right.
So I love you, but I don't particularly care for you. I don't really like you. We just, and you probably don't like me, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
I love it. Hey, you guys, everybody that's listening, tell us what y'all thoughts of the show is. Tell us what your thoughts. Tell us, do y'all get something from this show? Because I get a lot from the show. Like, I really appreciate the show. Y'all are in DC. I'm here in Atlanta and everything, or DC, Maryland. I'm sorry. And I'm in Atlanta, but I feel like we're all sitting in the same living room. And when we pick these topics, it's just like, let's make sure we heal it. Let's make sure our audience feels like they're included too. So y'all let us know.
Right. Because I even told Latanya, I think when we were on the phone yesterday, I was like, I'm holding anger for a family member. Ooh. And Latanya was like, you have got to let that go. And I'm like, the only way I know how to let it go is if I curse you out. And then
why did I tell you have to let it go?
For me.
You have to let it go for you.
For me.
Not just for you, because it wasn't none of your business. It ain't your issue.
Right. Well, in that particular case, yeah.
In that particular case, the shit didn't happen to me, but it happened to someone I love. And Latanya was like, but it didn't happen to you. So you can't take on somebody. But that's like if somebody do something to my daddy. Game on.
You can't listen, but you gotta understand. Like for me, my son deals with depression, right? So there's a part of his depression that I have to deal with. I know I was there, and I know my story is different than his, but it ain't my depression. So when I deal with him on this topic, I gotta swallow.
Yeah,
that's his issue to deal with, not mine. And I gotta learn. I can't take that personal because that's what he thinks. Perspectives is everything. You know what I mean? Two people can be raised in the same house and think totally different in life or whatever and stuff. We have to stop thinking. We got to stop thinking for everybody else and worry about ourselves. That's one.
What that little girl say on YouTube when her father wanted to put her seatbelt on? Worry about yourself.
Worry about yourself. Right.
Yeah, but remember,
you can't take on the burdens of everybody else. Your father might have, listen, your father might have did a latrina and cussed somebody out, and you ready to go hurt somebody because your daddy done did something.
Then I got to apologize, because if you fuck with my father, it's on, okay?
oh Lord.
But no, you're right. I have to let go of stuff that is not my fight. You're right. Things that are not my fight, I have to let it go. You're
Yeah.
right.
So Alan said some people will beg you to open up, but when times get bad, they use the info you gave against you. So people don't portray exactly who they truly are. Actually, let me say this. That doesn't, just because someone brings up something that you told them doesn't mean that they're attacking you. Sometimes what you tell them, you're jacked up and you're screwed up, and someone needs to hold you accountable. And
That's
just
true.
because somebody
That's one
comes
way of
for
looking
you,
at it.
just because someone tells you something that you don't like does not mean that they're attacking you. They could be helping you and bettering you.
That's true. I
Okay.
just think we get so defensive that we're
Right.
just not looking at things from that perspective,
Right.
because we're not listening.
And we have to do better at that.
Yeah.
We have to do a lot better.
Monique said, pick your battles. And by the way, first of all, we got listeners all over the states here. Monique is hailing in from Cali right now, California. We got Angie in Chicago, Pam in Houston. We got Kyla in Arizona. We got Brooklyn is always in the building. Alan's in Brooklyn. Alan, you still in Brooklyn, right? Rondell too, I believe. Brooklyn is always in the building, my hometown.
Alabama.
Oh, Alabama. Woo!
That's my chica. Of course, we got our Maryland people in here too.
Yes.
Yolanda, where are you at? I think
Philly.
Yolanda, Philly. See, y'all. So we doing a dang thing.
We are
down to 8 minutes.
Oh wow.
And what we didn't discuss really quick, really quick. How do you walk away from generational curses?
I just make a conscious decision that I'm changing. I'm changing my life. I'm changing the lives of my children, of my grandchildren, and in the future of my cousins, my niece. I am no longer accepting it. Period. I'm just not accepting it.
I don't accept it anymore. I dare to be different. I dare to be different, and I challenge the people around me to also be different as well, especially family. We're breaking all of those curses. We're moving on. Life is too short out here. I can't stress that enough. You know, life is too short. We're in the second part of our lives. We're in a new, hold on, let me say this. We are in a new decade, people. A new decade. Any bull crap that's brought to me or even comes in my midst, I'm like, boy, what you talking about something from last decade? that's my answer. From last decade? That's my answer, because I'm on a plane. I'm going forward. That's all I can do. And if you with me, we all go.
Yeah, I get you're right.
I'm facing mine. Like I'm facing mine. Like, bring it on. I mean, I've asked God even more. Bring them all. Let me see them now, so I can fight them and I can handle them. I can release them. You know, yeah, I can sit there and say that I'm not gonna take it, but I don't know not to take. How am I gonna not take it?
Well, you're tested. Do you know how they say the devil is busy? He is busy all the time. We are always tested. But I'm telling you, I don't. Somebody's gonna quote me on the Bible scripture on where exactly this is, but I truly live my life like by this: is that God doesn't give us more than we can bear.
Absolutely.
We're pretty much going through it. He's going to get us out of it eventually. No matter how much it hurts now, no matter what we're faced with, if you keep that in mind, and eventually it, and what they say, and this too shall pass, it will. But you have to help yourself too. You know what I'm saying? You have to.
But I get what Latanya is saying. Is you do face it. I get what she's saying. You do face it. But I don't have to stay there, and I don't have to accept it and continue that behavior. I guess that's what I'm referring to. So that's what I mean when I say, I'm not accepting it. If it's there, we're going to deal with it, but I'm done with it.
Right.
I'm done with it.
And we got to go through the process.
Oh, absolutely. Everything is
Gotta
a
go through the
process.
process. You got to go through the process.
Yeah,
So, ladies, another show. We've made it through an hour of talking something, and you know, next week's show. One of y'all want to say it? Because I done forgot.
Sure.
Oh,
The 5 love languages.
oh yeah, y'all ready for that one? Y'all ready?
Oh yeah. The 5 love languages, and for all the listeners, I suggest you go ahead and take the test because we are going to be talking about that next week. The 5 love languages. If you Google it, you could go ahead and take the test. It takes less than 5 minutes. Know where you are with your love language should help you decide what your love language is. And we all have one, although we may not think it, but we do. And we need to talk about love and getting the love you deserve and need to receive and how you receive it. So
I hope that's coming for me in the next decade. When is the next decade? In 3 days?
No. Trina, you crazy. Also, I want to ask the men on the show, can you guys please, the book is awesome, Alan. Can you guys please hit us in the inbox and tell us some topics that you guys would like to hear from as women? Because we're women and we come up with some ideas, but we want to know what you guys want us to talk about so we can all keep this a family and, and really touch on some things that are swept under the rugs that we need to work on and change. So, how can they follow you on social media, Nikki?
Okay, Nikki Jules across all social media, Twitter, Instagram. Check me out. Thanks, Kyla. Yeah, so Latrina, how can they find you?
My government name on Facebook, Latrina Hunter.
Nothing exciting.
It's just the name they gave me, and Instagram is Mama Bear 23.
Yeah,
my regular page is Latanya Michelle, and my everything else is Tiger Eyes 360, TYGEREYZ, and like that, we are out until next week, you guys. We love you guys and take care.
Thanks.
Have a good week.